Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first Killing the Coding interview of this year. Hello, Kohei. Um, I'll wait up till 2:05 in case more people want to show up. This is the first Killing the coding interview prep session of the year. So I want to make sure that as we can get as many people as we can. Today, the plan is to go over general problem solving strategies. We'll be getting into specifics starting next week, but for today, the plan is to get into general stuff. I'll be muting myself for a little bit. We'll just wait 5 more minutes. Thank you. In the meanwhile, why don't we do this? In the chat, why doesn't everyone introduce themselves? Because we have some new people here and some old people as well. Actually, I'll start with my introduction. My name is Arjun. Old people. No, I mean like old people from like last semester who were coming. Yes, yes. No, so me, I am Arjun Pervani. I am a junior here at UCF. I am the software development director at Nighthacks. And also I run Killing the Coding interview. I don't want to say much more, so we'll leave for other people. Yes, Kate, I have done a lot of coding interviews. Oh, okay, I guess I interviewed at Microsoft and I got accepted there. So I'm going there for the summer, if that answers your question, Elijah. Thank you, Kate. Oh, the weirdest one was actually Walmart Labs. Yeah, that was really weird. Julio, I'll talk about what made it weird in a little bit. Like today's going to be like a general overview. How do you feel about? We don't talk politics here. Just saying, like we're not going to talk about politics here. Yeah. This space is only meant for helping you guys succeed in your technical interviews, not just technical interviews. Also, like I'll also like be briefly covering behavioral interviews. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to like deal with that kind of stuff right now. We're at 2:05. I have prepared a PowerPoint for this, but full disclaimer, I'm actually really bad at preparing PowerPoints because I tend to put a lot less information on the slide itself and talk a lot more about it. So if for the PowerPoint purists, I do apologize. That's just how I roll. So let's get started. So here, hello everyone. Welcome to Killing the Coding interview again. Here we're gonna help you prepare for your technical interviews. You don't have to turn on your camera, but if you want to, you can. You know, I'd appreciate it because I feel lonely. So we're gonna start today's presentation. We're gonna kind of like, oh, hey, Alex, I know you from AI UCF. Right.
Would you rather us unmute our
So
mic or?
you can keep yourself muted or unmuted. This is kind of like, so like some people who run their Zoom things are kind of purists on that, like everyone muted and stuff, but I don't really care. As long as like, if you're making a lot of noise during while I'm talking, I can just mute you. I don't mean offense by that. It's just, we need to move on. All right, so we're gonna get started when this presentation mode thing works. So full disclosure, can you see my screen? Everyone,
Yeah, I can see it.
please unmute yourself and ask, talk. Actually, you know what? I'd prefer it if you guys unmuted yourselves because I've seen, yeah, I've seen that people tend to be more engaged in the in a conversation or in a thing when they're unmuted and their cameras are on. So welcome to Killing the Coding interview. We're gonna, I've said that a lot of times now, but we're gonna help you succeed in technical interviews. And yes, okay, awesome. So let's talk about technical interviews for a second. So how do you get an internship and like a job? But because this is an important thing to talk about. You see that, Andrew, you saw my SSD thing? Okay. Okay, so this is important to talk about because what are you preparing for? What are you practicing your coding skills for? What are you aiming for? And it's important to be honest with yourself about this. So I remember when I was going through my like rat race of applying to different places, I actually just hoped for anything really, because there was a phase in my process where I was really not getting anything. I'm really surprised that somehow things worked out. But you see that what you need, first of all, is a strong portfolio and a strong resume to get your foot in the door. You see, because companies won't waste time on technical interviews with you if your resume isn't at least good enough to like get your foot in the door, kind of. So once you have your foot in the door, this is where really your preparation and stuff start. So first of all, build your portfolio. I cannot stress this enough. Work on projects. Try to do research. Like you can just like, I just walked up to a professor and asked her if I could do research for her, and I did it for like more than a year. I got published as an author through that, and that helped me get my Microsoft position. So build your resume. It's really important. I cannot stress that enough. Once you have
Hey,
built,
Arjun, can I interrupt you for a second? I think we're having the same issue that we had during the Flutter workshop. where
No. I'm not moving the screen. If it's frozen.
But
that
like, are
means
you
it's
in the
not moving.
presentation? Because all I see is in the middle of the screen, Arjun has started screen sharing and double click to enter full screen mode, and then it's out of the presentation mode.
Is that for everyone else?
No, I see the
I can
untitled
see the
presentation. I see
Oh,
your
mine's
Safari.
fine.
Yeah, you're not like full screen mode, but I can see.
I just wasn't sure if you were supposed to be in the presentation mode or not. But if it's good,
Yeah.
then
I'm in the presentation. Can
Okay,
can you see it now?
Okay,
It
I
just
can see it
switched.
now.
Yeah, I can't see it now.
Oh, great. Amazing. This is not fun. It keeps screwing my thing. Okay, can you see this?
No.
No.
Amazing. Just amazing.
gotta love it.
Wow.
Oh
Better
man.
workshop part 2.
Okay,
I'm
do you
sorry.
see it now? Do you see
No.
it now?
No.
Nope,
Nope.
same thing.
can't.
It's just a black screen.
It's a really weird magic trick. I'm sorry.
Okay. I've never had this issue before, and we thought we fixed it because I screen shared today on Zoom. I tried to reset my drivers, screen shared drivers,
This is a
but
$110 billion company.
it's yeah. Wait, Zoom is a $110 billion company, and Apple is a $2 trillion company. You'd think they can figure out how to share screen properly.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see again? Like we're
No.
gonna. All right, I'm just gonna talk. And we're gonna solve problems somehow. Sorry. I thought I figured this out. All right, so back to where I was saying things. As I said, I stress it's really important to build your resume. It's really important to be proactive and work
can see it.
on.
Oh, I see it now
Oh,
too, yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, now
Perfect.
it's fine.
I
took
am
a
not
hot
gonna
minute.
exit this. I'm not gonna exit this. Like we're just gonna leave it here. It's not a very large presentation, but we're just gonna leave it here. Elijah, can you see it?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, thank you.
Woo, let's go.
I am not moving this, so don't think it's frozen because I'm just not like moving it. Okay, so build your portfolio. It's very important. Do projects. Like for people who are seeing my tabs right now, there's a Udemy link for a React course that I finished like a year ago. I'm just refreshing my knowledge on that. So it's important to like keep doing this stuff. Then make your resume. Resumes are important. You can get your foot in the door with that. Research your interests. This is kind of important because I don't know about you guys, but the reason I picked computer science is because I wanted as flexible a base as I could. Because when I was getting into college, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I tried a lot of different things, and I tried computer science. Like with computer science, there's so many things you can do. You can do web development, app development. You can do AI stuff. You can do DevOps. You can do little back end stuff. Like there's so many things you can do because like right now, like developers in general are just like a hot commodity. So you're not going to like everything. And it's important to know what you're going to like, because as CS people, you're going to spend 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours a day, probably in front of a computer typing. And if it's important that you be happy with what you're doing, you enjoy what you're doing, it interests you. So please, this is actually, you know what? I should put this on the top because this is the most important thing. And then start applying. Okay, my only advice for starting to apply is do a lot. I think I sent out like 100 applications, and this is important. Actually, I have a friend. He's like a really amazing guy. Got an internship at Google and Apple and that kind of stuff. And even he applied to like 70 internships, 70 full-time positions, and that's because a lot of times these companies don't even get back to you. Like, and the reason is it's not their fault. They just don't have the resources to send emails to everyone. And so you just have to keep applying. Also, this is a funny experience, and I can share my Walmart experience after this, but this is a funny experience I had with a company I will keep unnamed. So I interviewed with them on October 9th. And then of 2020, I didn't hear from them anything. So like this was the second round interview. The first round interview happened in September, mid-September. So my application moved relatively quickly from September, mid-September to October 9th. I finished my interview with them, and then I didn't hear anything from them until December when they're like, hey, you have an offer with us. Do you want to join? And at that point I already accepted. So the thing is, through internal errors, external errors, I love the background, Duilo. I saw it, by the way. Hey, weren't you the same one who held the help sign in the first GBM? Oh, this is funny. Okay, never mind. Getting back on track. Like this company in Texas, they gave me the offer in December when like they'd already decided that they would go ahead with my application in October. If I had waited for them, I don't know what I would be doing by that point. So it's important to like apply to as many positions as you can, provided those interest you. So this is all I can say. We have resume workshops at ACM. We have resume workshop at SACE, I think, Society of Asian Scientists and Engineers. I actually even attended I didn't attend NESB, but I did attend SHEP conference. So get as many opportunities as you can, because as college students, like you're not expected to know a lot. The bar for you is really low. So the more opportunities you can grab right now as college students, the better it'll be for you when you're like graduated or like middle level professionals or even like higher level professionals, because you'll have more experience. So let's talk about technical interviews now. What is the most important skill that people who do technical interviews should have? Practice. Like they have to keep practicing. And we'll go over some problem solving techniques today, and like I'll do some like problems. I'll select some random lead code problems. I'll probably do easy ones, even though I can do medium ones, just in the interest of time, because we are already 17 minutes into the session, and I wanted this to be a general information session today.
I have a quick question.
And yes, go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, I don't know if this is a good time to interrupt, but I'm a transfer from Valencia this semester, and they didn't really have any in-depth coding courses. But I bought Cracking the Coding Interview, and it was a bit daunting. So my biggest concern is, when is a good time to actually start like really breaking into this book?
Anytime's a good time, but I actually I wouldn't recommend you to do what I did. I broke into this book when I was like a few days away from my Microsoft final round interview. Not a good idea. Not a good idea.
That's funny.
Don't do what I did. I'll just say that. You see, because like I actually have coding competition experience. This is one of my favorite books. It's called Guide to Competitive Programming. This is it's far more advanced than Cracking the Coding Interview, but like it really helped me develop my problem solving skills. So the reason why I could get away with breaking into this book, Cracking the Coding Interview, a few days before my Microsoft interview, is because I actually do have a lot of coding competition experience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'd recommend as soon as possible. Actually,
So I can just break into it?
That's fine.
Okay.
Let me find this, because I actually, here. So on page 10 or page 30 of Cracking the Coding Interview, she gives like a roadmap of what to do, like this stuff you should follow. So it says that you should 1 or more years before your interview, which is not a lot for a lot of people, but you should start building projects. And this comes back to what we talked about on building our portfolio. And someone in the chat, okay. Josh said now IDK.
Oh.
What are you talking about, Josh?
Oh yes, when you should start breaking into it. I was like, no.
Oh yeah.
Just right now?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, right now.
I don't know what you
Recommended chapters.
Ooh,
For
that's a
what?
good
Are
question.
you applying for are you applying for intern positions?
I think they meant like in the book.
Yeah, no, but like what position are you
Oh,
applying
sorry.
for? Intern? Okay. So all right. First of all, this is just a disclaimer. I would say to read the whole book. It looks thick, but it's not, because the section that is going to be relevant to you is called the concepts and algorithms section, which is chapter 5 through 11, and that's only about like a 50-page section. But if you really want me to recommend some chapters, which I would say do the behavioral questions prep, because people don't really pay much attention to behavioral questions, and a lot of times you can get screwed because of behavioral questions. I've had interviews like with really completely tech companies that were solely behavioral. I won't name names though. Behavioral question. Well, actually, I can. It was Texas Instruments. So behavioral questions are important. There's a technique called the STAR method that you should really focus on. I would say also look into chapter 6, which is Big O. At least like skim through it. You should know what it is. I would also go through chapter 7, which is technical questions. This talks you like through optimization and problem solving strategies. A lot of times, if you practice a lot, you can build your own kind of approach to solving a problem, but it helps to have like a formalized problem solving strategy. After that, I mean, I would really recommend you look into like the data structures and the concepts and algorithm sections. You don't really need to look into like specifics for languages, but if you want me to go into like what you should look into for internship preparation, arrays and strings are a big thing. Linked lists are a big thing. People don't really like most companies don't really ask more than that. Now, if it's Google or Facebook, they will ask dynamic programming questions. So that's chapter 8 recursion dynamic programming. And you can't just go like directly jump from chapter 2 to chapter 8. You have to like at least do chapters 3 and 4 to get there. I think that's it though. And as far as my recommendation is concerned, should I write it down if that helps you, Josh, or whoever asked the question? Dini. I'm so sorry if I butcher your name. Is it Dini?
It's Dini, like Houdini.
Dini? Okay, I'm so sorry. But does that answer your question? Do you want me to write
Yeah,
that
it
answer
does.
down?
I took a couple notes. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Any more questions? And then otherwise, like I can talk about a little bit of these resources.
So what was the full title of the book?
It's Cracking the Coding Interview. Here, let me just type it up. Apologies, I bought a new keyboard, so I'm kind of like iffy on typing right now. Cracking the Coding Interview, it's like basically the Bible of coding interview prep. You don't have to buy the latest version, which is the 6th edition. You can probably buy like the 5th edition or something. I don't know. Whatever works.
All right, thank you.
No problem. So the next resource we have is LeetCode. Everyone knows about this. So let me just go to LeetCode. So there's a bunch of problems here and stuff that you can use to practice on. I actually really like this other website called Code Wars. It helps you like go through your problem solve. It helps you like develop your problem solving skills. This isn't really for technical interviews or algorithms and stuff. It's just like a problem solving website where you can like go here and solve problems for fun for like ultra nerds like me. But I enjoyed this website. It has some really good questions. I'd recommend you guys check this out as well. So I'll put this here as well. Then the next one I want to talk about is Code Forces. And this one, so you know how like if you want to prep for your SAT math exam or something, then like they recommend you to like check out like harder problems than what you'll be facing. or you'll be dealing with?
Yeah.
Hoping the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, prep for SAT, that's funny. Well, you see, if you want to do something like SAT math level questions, you can probably prepare a lot better if you prepare for like a much harder exam like AMC. So AMC is American Math Competition, for those of you who did not know that. Flashbacks, oh, did you take AMC in high school? Oh, okay, never mind. So I did AMC. Anyway, so the similar concept here where Codeforces is a website for people who want to do, Codeforces and USACO actually are websites for people who want to do coding competitions. And really it's a good idea to like use these for preparation. And if you have a little bit of extra time at your hands, and the reason is because the questions here they ask here are a lot harder. And so when you prepare for questions like this one, then the coding interview becomes like easy peasy. I can talk about my Microsoft interview here for a second. So the only reason I actually checked this book out for the Microsoft interview was to read the behavioral section, because I was like all ready for the technical stuff because I did a lot of coding competitions. And this is why I felt qualified to run this series, because I have done behavioral and I have done technical questions. So I think I can help people out a lot more from here. And really just really hammer down on these problem solving techniques and practice. Practice is the answer. If you're a sophomore right now, I would apply to different internships and stuff, but I would really take this time to do two things: preparing for your interviews, which is building your portfolio and practicing. So we're going to check out a few of these websites and then we'll get into problem solving. Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll go to Codeforces first. So Codeforces has, first of all, let's look at ratings. So there are these like really amazing people who have ratings of 3,778 ELO points. You get some points for like each problem has a certain ELO rating, and you get some points for solving it. So this is like, this guy Tourist, he's probably one of the best competitive programmers in the world, if not the best, and because of his rating. So let's look at some of the problems. All right, so there are these like this one, and then to do this problem, for example, you can submit your solution here. So upload your solution. Okay, you're not allowed to leave. You have to enter. You have to like log in. I can log in. All right, and now if I want to submit, then either I can like type in my solution here or copy paste from my editor, or I can select a file and then I can submit. So what this is like really good, because the reason I recommend programming competitions is because inherently you're thinking about complexity, time complexity, more specifically, but also sometimes space complexity. So you just get so used to the idea of like thinking about things where like, okay, I have 1,000 inputs. How can I do this the most efficiently? And this is very important because they ask you this in coding interviews. My Microsoft first round interview was solve this problem. Okay, I solved the problem. Now they're like, okay, great. Analyze it right now. So I analyzed the big O. There was a problem I had never seen before, by the way. I analyzed the big O complexity and he was very happy with that. And then that was the end of the interview. I just asked him a few questions and that was it. So as you can see, they're getting an idea of what kind of programmer you are just from questions like this. So it's important for you to be able to solve them properly, and you solve them first of all, and solve them properly. They also asked like a bunch of optimization questions. Like a very common follow-up to like solving a question is, how can you optimize it more? And you know, it's an amazing feeling when you say, oh, you can't optimize it because that's it. Like this is the most optimal solution. It's amazing, I'm telling you. So this is Codeforces. It is a very good website. I would recommend checking it out. And this is Yusako. So these are some like insanely smart people.
Oh, I've seen him on
who,
YouTube. The guy on the right.
Oh, you have? Oh, that's cool. So these are some like really smart high schoolers who went to International Computing Olympiad or International Olympiad for informatics and won gold medals. So they just beat everyone, gold medals and silver medals. So this is their practice and thing. And this is all free, by the way. So you can sign in. I logged in, and there's a contest going on right now, actually, I think. You can train here. You can look at their problems, contests. You can go to these contests, look at the results. You can, I think there's a page for training here, and like here, resources. There's more resources here, so it's great. It's a really good website as well. There's more questions in the chat. This is the guy on the right's YouTube channel, is really cool. I'll check it out later.
He has some good videos.
I'll check it out later. Thanks, man. Okay, so that's Yusako. What is the last one I have? That's it. Awesome. Okay, so problem solving techniques and optimizations. For people, I'm just gonna like get the formalized version from Cracking the Coding interview because it's very, very well written. I'm going to be skimming it very, very briefly, and we're gonna be getting into problems soon. But if you guys want more details, I'd recommend getting the book yourself and going through it. I think this is a really good book. It's a very good investment of whatever the amount of money that you put into it. And so here's the problem solving strategy. So first of all, how will the problem be presented to you? For one of the companies that I interviewed at, they just told me the problem. How do you solve this? They didn't ask me to write any code. They didn't ask me to like, write anything. They're just like, what are you thinking? So what's important is to develop like a problem solving mentality. So pay attention to what your interview is asking you in the problem. They might drop hints here and there. And when you start talking to them about it, like be sure to communicate. So I have a friend, Ryan, he's going to Facebook, and he told me that he was stuck at a problem, and all he did was just like list the ways he could think of. He started actually listing ways he can do. And I have another friend, Joe, I think. I mean, not I think, his name is Joe. But he was like, I explained to him that you can actually like list data structures and stuff that you know verbatim and say like, okay, how can I solve this? Can I use arrays? No. Can I use linked lists? No. Can I use strings? Oh, yes. Okay. So what algorithms with strings do I know? And then he started solving it. And the interviewer actually told him that you're very good at communicating, which is a tap on the back. This is important because the interviewer is also another human being. They don't know what you're thinking. They cannot read your mind. So if you tell them what, and they also want you to be successful in your interview because you got to the interview stage. So you clearly deserve to be there. And so what that means is that you need to talk. So you're letting the interviewer kind of into your brain, and they're understanding what you're thinking of, and maybe they can even drop hints here and there, useful hints. So with my Microsoft interview, the final round interviews, first version, or first like, so this is the final round for Microsoft is kind of like, there's two separate interviews with two different people. If only talking was enough. Yes, it is kind of like with my interview with American Express. I never actually coded, but it was a technical interview. I just explained to them how I do it, then I analyzed it without any paper, and they were very happy with me. So yes, talking can be enough sometimes. You just have to like play your cards right. All right, so what was I talking about? Yes, Microsoft final round interview. My interviewer gives me a problem. It's something about a Rubik's Cube. I forget what it is now, but you were supposed to solve it using a 2D array. I was very nervous, so I was started like thinking about like 3D arrays. I don't know why I had 3D arrays in my head, probably because a Rubik's Cube is a 3D object. And I was working on some like code for a website I was making. So that was dealing with some kind of weird arrangement with arrays, like 2D arrays of objects, which are like kind of have more information in them. So I started thinking of 3D arrays. And he was like, let me stop you right there. It's 2D arrays. And from there, I solved the whole problem on my own. But the point is that I would have gone down like a huge rabbit hole of like 3D arrays if he hadn't just stopped me. So it's important to communicate. I hope this kind of like anecdotal story helped you out. Like not every interviewer is the same, just be aware of that. What's next? Okay, well, once you've like understood the problem, communicated, then like kind of just think of like, what is the dumbest way to do this problem? So this is kind of funny. And this is a little different from what she has in her book, but I like to think of it this way. So what is the brute forcey or the most obvious way to solve this problem? And state that, because sometimes people don't actually, like there are some candidates who don't know the most obvious way to solve a problem. And so when you say it, they know, okay, they can tick it off like their like mental checklist that this person at least knows the most obvious solution, and then start looking for optimizations. And perhaps it's helpful to like draw examples. So if it's a graph question, draw graph trees. And like then like draw a graph, draw a tree, draw a whatever is necessary. Start building like test cases, start thinking of edge cases. And when you like communicate all that, like to them, it's coming off like, oh my God, this person's an ace problem solver. We definitely need them. Then again, state the brute force problem and then start optimizing. And then she mentioned some techniques for optimization, but enough talking, let's get into some problems. So how this usually works is that I like to solve one problem on my own, like on this stuff. And then I like to let someone else share their screen and solve the problem. This is important because when you're like doing a technical interview, like you're gonna share your screen, you're gonna be live coding. So if you already have like a little experience with live coding before, then you can actually like at least get that kind of nervousness out of your mind. So can we have a volunteer today? For today? I'll go first, just so that's clear. And I'll pick an easy problem, don't worry. Alex, do you want to volunteer?
No.
No, okay.
I,
All
I'm
right.
I'm in CS1. I'm not very good.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna. Okay, so we have someone in the chat saying, not me pulling up to a coding interview solving questions on Scratch in Scratch. Okay. You cannot use HTML, CSS to solve coding problems. Okay,
If
sorry.
you are fine with me not knowing any like theory or anything,
I'm okay.
and
I'm okay with
want to
that.
spoon feed me the whole time, I'll go for it.
That's fine. I can do
Okay.
that. And or if you really don't want to do it, I was gonna force my old friend Andrew to do it.
Yeah. So if you want to spoon feed it, or you can go with your friend, either one.
Well, we have 20 minutes, so we can probably accommodate both of you. I'll just have to be kind of quick with mine. So I'm gonna go to lead code. I think starting out, lead code is a good platform for you to practice, but I'd also like start doing a little bit of like code forces here and there. And this is just my personal recommendation.
I have used LeetCode, but I've only ever been able to solve like the super basic ones.
Okay, we're gonna do an easy problem this time.
Okay.
So what do we want to do? I don't know. Rotate string. This is kind of simple. I know this problem, so I don't want to make a fool of myself, so I'll do this problem. And I also like introduce some like nice libraries. Oh, Elijah, if you want to do it also, like I can stop.
Doesn't matter. Just let me know if you.
Okay. Also, I know that I've been talking for a while here, but You guys can still see my screen, right? I'm on lead code now.
Yeah,
we
you
can
are.
see it.
No
Yeah, we can
issues.
Okay. All right, awesome. So this is a problem. It's like given two strings, A and B, see if they're just rotations of each other. And this is what's cool, what's interesting, is that there's a bunch of ways to solve this problem. I actually happen to know a really optimal way to solve this problem, but I'm not going to do it that way. We're going to start with the brute forcey ways, and then we're going to apply our brains to like brainstorm what we can do and what we cannot do. All right, everyone ready? Want to do this? Awesome. Okay, so let's read the problem first. This is important. In the programming team, oh, I'm not going to solve it in C#. I can, but I don't want to. So there's in the program UCF programming team, they have a saying. It's called RTPC. Their whole website is called rtpc.programming-team or something. RTPC stands for read the problem carefully, because that's what students don't do. So we are given two strings, A and B. Oh, I'm guilty of that myself, by the way. My professor keeps telling me to read the problem. A shift on A. I was not in the programming team, by the way, just to make that clear. A shift on A consists of taking string A and moving the leftmost character to the rightmost position. For example, if A is A, B, C, D, E, then it will become B, C, D, E, A after one shift. And return true if and only if A can become B after some number of shifts on A. So here's something important. They say some number of shifts, and we have to return either true or false. We don't actually have to return like how many rotations it's going to take or anything like that. This is an important thing to note. So here's some test cases. Input is A, B, C, D, E, and A is A, B, C, D, E, and B is C, D, E, A, B, and the output is true. And the input is A, B, C, D, E, and B is A, B, C, E, D, and it's false. So let's take a look at example number 2 for a little bit here. I'll also check chat for a second. Ready, nice. So if we look at A here and B here, all the characters are exactly the same. It's just a different arrangement or permutation of them. But it's important to see that you can't actually you cannot achieve B from A by doing any number of rotations, even though the number of characters being used are exactly the same. All right, so this is an important thing to note. Also, this is kind of interesting. A and B will have a length of at most 100. So this kind of gives us like what we can start doing. So computers, generally, it's a good idea to assume that computers can do about 1 million operations per second. So don't exceed that. So let's start thinking of algorithms here. Bless you, Alex.
Thank you.
Let's start thinking of like how to do this problem. Any thoughts?
My first thought was to maybe make a new function that passes the length of each or the first string, and then maybe using it as a how many loops you want to go in a for loop.
Okay.
Just like
So
some
you
thoughts because
wanna take A and keep rotating it till we hit B sometime.
yeah, to like run as many loops as the length of A, and if any of them returns true, then return true.
All right, let's do that. That's a good idea. What do people think in the chat think? Should chat share? Of course. I'm reading the chat.
Hi.
But that isn't. Oh, sorry.
My bad. I have an idea, which is just basically like giving each letter in the initial string like a number, and then going through and checking to see whether the second string, just whether the numbers are in like order, and it can have up to one instance of the number going down. I think that would work. And then if it's true, then
So you're saying that we assign each letter a number
yeah.
like that? And then for string A, we just add up all the numbers?
Not quite add them up, but like go through and say, okay, is the first digit is the first digit and the second digit, when you compare them, does it go up? And if it, basically counting the number of times that the second character is lower than the first character. Does that make sense?
But
Probably.
they don't have to be in order though. So
No,
like,
yeah.
consider a string like this.
Mhm.
E, D, C, D, A. I cannot backwards do alphabets. I'm slow. Most people
Yeah,
are.
I'm
But
not
like
talking
here,
about
if you think about it
alphabet.
this way, that the numbers are actually reducing, right? So E is
No, yeah.
5, D is
I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about like I don't think this is the right term for it, but like a linked list. That's probably not the right term. Just like arbitrarily assigning each letter in the initial string a number.
I see what you're trying to say. So you're saying
Like a
that
map?
like let's say
A hash table thing.
Hmm?
yes, Dini, that would not work on that. Also, consider a string like this. So like let's start thinking about edge cases now. It's like actually, you know what? Let's follow the technique that I said I should follow. I should follow my own advice. So let's state the most obvious solution. The most obvious solution, Alex already stated it. That is, write a function that does rotations, and then for every rotation, let's do a string compare.
Yeah,
And if right, and if at any point it matches, then that's fine. If like you've done a complete rotation cycle and it didn't match, then it's never going to match, and you can give up hope. So let's start thinking. Let's first of all, now that you've said it, let's start thinking about like how much, like how many operations that'll be. All right. So it's gonna do. There's A and B will at most be 100. Okay. So first of all, a string compare function, I think I could be wrong on this, but I think it's an O of n function, which means that for every time you have to compare A and B, it'll be like 100 operations, okay, at most. Then if you think about like a rotation function like that, it's gonna be, you take the string, right? For 100, like you're gonna like reconstruct the whole string 100 times. Wait, okay, we have a bunch of stuff in the chat. It sounded like what Kate was saying was a hash table, but maybe not. Duplicate characters would cause a problem unless you account for them, but that gets complicated. LMAO. Ricardo is saying true. We can talk about hash sets a little bit later, but so I'm saying like when you're like doing an analysis here, how would you do it? Like let's think about how we're gonna write a rotation function. So we're gonna do for length of string. Oh, this is like, I'm trying to make it pseudocodey, so I'm gonna put in comments. Ugh. I told you I can't type today. So for length of string, right? Make it kind of Python. We're gonna store first character, right? And then we're gonna take the kind of like for, well, okay, one sec. Store first character. Then for length of string, character at position. So I'm just going to do this at position 0 equals character at position 1. So basically, character at position I equals character at position I plus 1. And then after we've done the last character is equals the first character. All right, this makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, but you see like this operation is just one rotation, right? So if I run this, that'll be only how many rotations? How many rotations is this going to be? Like just one, right?
Just one.
Yeah. Yeah, just one.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're going to have to do this whole thing the length of the string time. So this operation becomes an O of n squared operation.
Yeah, because as the string gets bigger, it grows exponentially. Okay, so that's
No,
not
it
very
grows
good.
like by a square. It grows, but it grows like parabolically. You guys know
Yeah,
what
so
the
that's not very good.
parabola is,
Do we,
like the
do we need to
square
check that
function.
initially the strings are the same size? Or is that one of the parameters?
Oh yeah, you can do that. You can definitely do that. But the thing is, when you do, I mean, you can. It might be an optimization. It's not necessary because you see that with strings, they have like a dot length function, and the dot length function is an O of n operation. And if your whole algorithm is an O of n operation anyways, that kind of like optimization may be unnecessary.
Gotcha.
If you look at it just there's a word for like if you amortize it, that might like if you just look at it like big O size, it's going to be kind of unnecessary.
Gotcha.
I mean,
Gotcha.
obviously, like a lot of times, like for example, insertion sort can be faster than merge sort. You guys know this, right?
I
In
don't,
some
but
cases. So insertion sort can be smaller than merge, can take less time than merge sort in certain cases. And that's because merge sort has a large hidden constant. We can go over that when we do a big O lecture. So the O of n squared solution is probably not great, but it is something. So we're gonna like think of like start brainstorming what else we can do. In the interest of time, and because it's 2:50 and I really want someone else to start coding as well, I'm just gonna give you the solution on this one. I am not a very good teacher, but we're gonna make a string builder. So for people who are going to be coding in giving their programming interviews in a certain language, like Java, C++ are very common, I'd recommend you really know your API, Java API or C++ API, like the library that they have really well. So string builder, so you guys know like you can do like a plus equals, for example, to a string, a certain character, right? But if you think about like how much time that operation takes, it's actually O of n, because what it's doing is strings in Java are immutable, which means that it's creating like a new string and it's populating with all the characters in A, like this A. Well, actually, it's a bad example. Let's put X here so it's clearer. It's populating with all the elements in this A and then putting an X at the side. So that's an O of n operation. On the other hand, a string builder or a string buffer, appending is an O of one operation. So that saves time there. Not really a lot because your whole problem is going to be an O of an operation anyways, but every bit counts and you can flex your Java knowledge to your interviewer. Okay, so the solution to this is like so simple and so tricky that you really want to like break something. So we're going to take the string builder and we're going to append B to it. So now it's filled with B. Then we're going to append B to it again. And what this does is like, if your say string is, we'll take this one, for example. If your string is this, if you put it twice, you suddenly have your original string in here in the middle.
Oh, wow.
So that's an O of one solution to this problem.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yes, yes, it is crazy. I didn't get it the first time either, but it's insanely smart. Whoever came up with it is a genius, and I look up to them.
So,
but
sorry, go ahead.
you don't need to know this kind of solution for an interview. You just have to like do the O of n solution and say that if I had to optimize it more, I'd have to think about it. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head. The important thing is that you solved it, right? A lot of people can't even solve that. So now we're gonna see we're gonna say if so s dot toString dot toString is a function. I don't know why it's not. So strings have a function called dot contains. So I'm gonna make a string temp equals string builder dot toString. Okay, and then return temp dot contains a.
Wow,
That's the solution,
that's crazy.
correct? And we'll submit it. Oh, it's a wrong answer. Oh, that's because I didn't account for this kind of problem. That's a lot less cool than I thought it would be. Let's okay, but you get to see me debugging. All right, so the input is A, and A. Now that's an interesting one. You see what's happening here is that it's taking our string B. So for this kind of optimization, we'll just do a whoever the length idea came up with. If a dot length is greater than or not equal to b dot length, length is, I think. So LeetCode's code recommendation features aren't great. I don't know if this will work or if I have to like make it method calls. There's some stuff in the chat. Length is a function of strings. Yeah, dot contains is a Java function. It is an OOP. Do not save this. Okay. Accepted.
Oh,
Yay.
Nice.
My thing was really slow. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I got it. So I apologize, but we don't have time for like someone else to do live coding. But I promise next class we'll have time for people to do live coding. So 3 people I want for next class. It's going to be Andrew, Alex, and Elijah. Please come.
All right.
Any
Thank you. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really interesting.
Thank you. Any questions from the class?
I just want to see if my other solution was getting close.
Oh, it would.
No, not the proof. I had
Yep.
another one. I had a different one.
I'd encourage you to go to LeetCode and try it yourself. It'll give you some practice.
That's true. What was the name of that prop?
I don't remember.
Oh, it's okay.
It's called rotate string.
Okay, cool.
Here, let me link it in the chat.
I got it. But yeah, for everybody else.
String builder, Dini, is a Java function or Java like thing. It's kind of like a data type that, yeah, it's a class. Sorry, I'm like having a major brain fart right now. It builds strings basically, and adding to a string builder is an O of 1 operation, which is important because you see when you add to strings, it's an O of n operation. So with string builders, you can save time and you can get bragging rights to your interviewer. You say, hey, it's better to use string builder instead of strings because it's an O of 1 operation. Sure. Do you want to stay after the class, after this session, Alec?
Yes, because
I'm
my
happy
resume
to
a lot-
review your resume.
my resume has
I'm
a
happy
lot
to
of
review
like
your resume.
a lot of projects, a lot of positions, and some skills.
Okay, I'm happy to look at whoever wants me to look at resume.
All right. Is that it?
That's it. If you guys have any questions, you can stay after class and ask me. If
All
you
right.
don't,
I'll see you guys later. Peace out.
Bye, Alex. Thanks for coming. Bye, everyone. Thanks so much for coming. Goodbye. No problem. I hope it was valuable to Andrew and everyone else. No problem, Chris.
Thank you.
No problem, Kate. Have a nice day. All right, Alec, do you want to share your resume? And Yijang, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. I'm really sorry.
Yes.
Do you also have a question?
My question is that I already did with 2 projects already. And so and there are some projects that with Oops on Pi Epsilon already as well.
Uh-huh.
So will that give me some more credit for employers?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again? Like the audio is getting a little distorted.
Okay, will that give me will employers look at this and say, oh,